Mike Papantonio, attorney and host of Ring of Fire Radio, on the line with us. Hey, Pap, we just had Bernie on for an hour. Senator Sanders, you're the perfect segue. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Tom?
I am fine, thank you. What's on your mind today? I'm guessing Syria might have something to do with it.
It certainly is Syria. If you're looking at the news today, if you're looking at corporate media news, of course, you're not getting this part of the story. But it seems like all the attention, Tom, is turning towards, well, what does this mean for Israel? What does it mean for, a whole host of other countries, without any discussion of why are we so willing to go fight a war on behalf of Prince Bandar or King Abdul and the Arab League? Because that's who's really behind a lot of this. Today, I know you know the story, where you had Prince Bandar meet with the Russians and saying, listen, we'll be glad to give you $15 billion worth of arms if you'll stand down on this. We'll be glad to give you a place in the oil sales set up to where we're not going to interfere with your sales of oil to Europe. Now, think about how insane that is. And you have Kerry, of course, coming and making the pronouncement that Saudi Arabia has agreed to pay for us to put our troops in the line of danger to go fight this war for them.
We heard this on the Iraq one too, by the way.
Yes, we certainly did. And so we miss the fact that, first of all, we miss the fact, who are the players here? The misdirection of corporate media, I don't know that it's misdirection or just sheer ignorance, Tom. But this is not a simple civil war we're talking about. These aren't a few rebels versus Assad. Assad is being targeted by Turkey. He's being targeted by virtually by most of the Arab League. He's being targeted by King Abdul. He's being targeted by Prince Bandar. We miss the fact that mixed up in there is the age-old fight between the Sunnis and the Shiites. You have, that conflict still is playing itself out in many ways here. But the thing that is most troublesome here is if you listen as hard as you possibly can to corporate media, there's no discussion that what Saudi Arabia is doing is turning the United States into mercenary soldiers, so we will go fight their war. We'll pay you to do that. We'll buy arms from you to do that. We'll give you money to do that. We'll give you fuel to do that. And what is the difference between that and simply calling ourselves mercenaries? And that's the ugly part of this story that certainly Kerry's not willing to talk about, and certainly Obama is not willing to talk about, but it's a major part of this story. The very same people who we gave a pass on for 9/11, where most of the terrorists involved in 9/11 were Saudis. And so we acted like there was no connection. We acted like there was no problem, like doesn't affect our relationship with Saudi Arabia at all. This is another incident where corporate America is ignoring this whole thing as Prince Bandar travels around the world as if he somehow is a victim here.
Yeah, formerly known as Bandar Bush for his close relationship to the Bush family. I pointed out on this program on Tuesday when we came back doing live shows that if you look at the west coast of Iraq, the western border, the western frontier of Iraq, which is where the newly developed oil fields are, the ones that Dick Cheney was dividing up in March of 2001 in his Energy Task Force. These new oil wells that, because they're virgin oil wells, the oil's actually in many of them coming out under pressure, making it the most profitable oil in the world. You don't have to spend $15, $20 a barrel on energy to suck on the straw to pull this oil out of the ground. It's coming out on its own. It's costing 50 cents a barrel to pump this stuff. It's enormously profitable oil. That's on that western border of Iraq.
Yes.
The western border of Iraq is the same thing as the eastern border of Syria. And the western border of Syria is also known as the Mediterranean, which is the entryway to Europe.
Perfect pipeline, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, there's so many parts to this that it seems that if you listen to what our president is telling us, it's almost like we listen and we say, okay, well now let me get this right. Is this a humanitarian fight that we're involved with? If it is, then let's handle it like we would any humanitarian problem. Let's sit down with the Russians. Let's sit down with the Iranians. Let's sit down with the Turks. Let's sit down with everybody at a table, the Chinese, and let's deal with it as a humanitarian problem.
And let's also take some of those billions that we want to throw in the form of military hardware, take those billions and put them into the refugee camps. I mean, you got 2 million people living in hell right now.
Right. Tom, you realize in just 3 years ago, the McDonnell Douglases, the Halliburtons, the Brown Roots, the Boeings, the Raytheons, they were making in excess of $70 to $80 billion a year just in war contracts, in military contracts. Now that number has dropped to about $26 billion a year. The only thing that this president can do that makes any sense is say, listen, if I really, really sincerely want to make a decision, that I don't have Wall Street pulling my string to make the decision. I don't have corporate media pulling my string to make the decision. I don't have the oil pimps pulling, making decisions. I don't have the arms industry, the war hawk arms industry making this decision. The only way he can do that is ask them to get the hell out of the room and then to be honest with himself with what he's about to do here in the United States. Right. You can't miss something, Tom. And look, he's made some great decisions. He's stepped into this. He talked too aggressively. He put a line in the sand, and now he's trying to walk back in a way, at least appear that he's walking back. But he wants a war, Tom. He absolutely wants a war. The generals that look at this say it's impossible to accomplish anything without putting boots on the ground. What are a few missiles going to do? Also, all Assad does is says, so what? Okay, yeah, you shot a few missiles over here, but I was over here. My regime is over here. It doesn't make any difference. Where does this really go? And this president understands that. He's in the midst of giving us the appearance that maybe he wants to walk back from that ridiculous rage that he showed without ever showing any real diplomacy first by drawing a line in the sand about chemical weapons.
That was a big mistake. I also think that there is a very small club of people who are killers, people who have killed other people and have done it under the cover of law. And that virtually everybody in the room with the president, all these guys with all the hardware on their shoulders and whatnot, they are members of that club. And yes. There's a certain kind of sociopathy that comes with it. Once you've killed somebody, you become a different person. And I think that the first time that one of these guys sat down with President Obama and said, we need you to authorize the killing of this guy with a drone strike or whatever it may be, and it happened probably fairly early in his administration, that he went through a psychological transformation that you and I can't understand. We've never done this. And killing gets easier and easier. And I don't know, maybe I'm psychoanalyzing
I've heard the argument before, and that is we become what we're surrounded by.
Yeah.
And that's the part of the problem. He's surrounded by horrible advisors. I mean, from just the very inner circle, he has terrible advisors. People advise him not to prosecute Wall Street. People advise him to attack Social Security. Horrible advisors time and time again. But worse than that is he is surrounded with the Beltway mentality that is controlled by the arms industry, McDonnell Douglas, Boeing, Raytheon. It's controlled
by people who make money off death.
Yeah, it's controlled by corporate media. Just look at the last war that corporate media. I mean, my God, I remember Wolf Blitzer in some ridiculous room with holograms and maps everywhere, moving maps of where.
And that's another media that makes money off death.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
Yeah, there you go. Mike Papantonio, you can listen to his program Ring of Fire Radio on the weekends, and ringofireradio.com, learn all about it. They've got a new TV show, Ring of Fire Radio, Ring of Fire TV over on Free Speech TV. You can check it all out at ringofire.com, ringofireradio.com, right?
That's right.
Okay. Pap, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Great talking with you. We'll be right back.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
That is ringofireradio.com.